at the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
There are whole generations now for whom a plane like this is simply an interesting memento from history. They see those aging faces at cenotaph services and find it hard to relate that when those same people climbed into planes like this and took off night after night into the uncertain skies of war, they were very young, many of them still in their teens. This is a story of people, of risk, of courage, of caring. It's the story of one plane, one air crew, one small town in Belgium, where when we asked the people why they did what they did and took the risks that they took, they shrugged their shoulders and said they did it simply for the boys.
The roots of World War II lay in the political and economic instability that resulted from the First World War. Hitler's rise to power was partly an outgrowth of the punitive terms of the peace agreement of World War I. As Germany rearmed itself, it was clear by the mid-1930s that another European war was imminent. Belgium, situated between Germany and France, was ravaged in World War I. With war on the horizon, in 1937 it naively declared itself neutral. A consequence of this action meant that Britain and France could not defend against or attack Germany from Belgian soil. The inevitable came. On May the 10th, 1940, the Germans attacked Belgium through Aachen. Belgian soldiers like Marcel Peters found themselves fighting a war like none before.
Van 17e artillerie, van 4e artillerie, wel schoon op alles. De tanks en alles kost maar schieten. Die Duitse tanks, maar kost niet kapot schieten. Je moest er onderin schieten. De rispen kapot. Kettingen in de oorlog. Als de Duitsers binnenkwamen, die stukkers. Wat doe ik er leeft? Ik kan niet leunen. Ik kon niet weg. En toch volgens. Dat is dat noemen overal. Hè. Als we iets te bruskeren, we waren met 4 stukken en nog 4 stukken overgebleven, dan waren we al kapot. Smeert dat kapot, hè. Maar we zijn gevangen. On front, ontvechten.
British and French troops moved up quickly to defend in a line from Antwerp to Namur, but the Germans were holding back their main attack. It came on May the 14th. 7 panzer divisions launched a surprise attack through the Ardennes in a pincer movement. The Belgians and most of the British and French forces were trapped. The German army quickly pushed them out to the coast. On May the 28th, 1940, the Belgian king, against the wishes of his government, unconditionally surrendered. In only 18 days of fighting, an estimated 12,000 Belgians had died, more than half of them civilians. The Allies fell back to defend Dunkirk for evacuation. By June the 6th, 330,000 French and British soldiers had left the beaches in a makeshift flotilla, leaving behind a vast amount of military hardware. The German blitzkrieg had been a tremendous success against greater numbers and perhaps better equipment. One of Canada's great contributions to the war effort was the training of air crews. Safely out of the range of German aircraft, schools were set up across the country, and they trained over 130,000 airmen over the duration of the war. One such volunteer was a young man by the name of Wes Knowlton. Wes joined up at age 23 in 1942.
I had 3 brothers in the service at that time, and I just wanted to see the world.
What did your mother think about that?
She used to say to me, "There's enough of us in it now."
Although he wanted to be a pilot, Wes was told he would be a navigator. He trained in Quebec City with 20 other young men, 9 of whom would not return. Canada had insisted on its own squadrons during the war. In October 1943, Wes was assigned to the newly formed RCAF 431 Iroquois Squadron, first in Thalthorpe, then Croft, England. They began flying 2-engined Wellington bombers. Wes's all-Canadian crew was made up of tail gunner Royal Hazel, wireless operator Les Anderson, the pilot William Woodrow, bomb aimer John Ling, and Wes as navigator. For radio operator Les Anderson, this was his second crew. He had been shot down 6 months earlier while with 426 Squadron, and was one of only 2 in his crew to survive the North Sea. In November, the squadron was moved to the Halifax 4-engine heavy bomber. The larger plane needed a flight engineer, Donald Harrison, and a mid-upper gunner, Albert Gable.
I was 23 or 24, and I was called Grandpappy because most of our gunners were 18 and 19. And the pilot was older than I was, and he was a great grandpappy.
The crew became operational on Christmas Eve, 1943. Their first job was an easy one, laying mines.
We just went across the North Sea, dropped our mines, and came home. But the whole German Luftwaffe was alerted because that was the direction for going to Berlin.
Most of the crew's flights took them over occupied Belgium, as the Allies concentrated on destroying the industrial heart of Germany and taking out strategic military and transportation targets in preparation for D-Day. For the early Halifaxes, a combination of poor airspeed and inadequate gunning made it a vulnerable target.
The average life of Halifax 5, January, February of 44, was 9 trips.
Were you ever scared when your flak was bursting around you?
Oh yeah, but you didn't go around being scared, because if you did, you'd be in problem. You just did not react to that. Or you reacted to say to heck with it.
Les Anderson, the radio operator, described life as days of laughter and nights of